What's going on, everyone? I'm Zero and welcome back to Zero 2, where today I've got another pack preview for you. Alliance Insight releases in the TCG on May 1st, 2025, and contains a ton of support for Legacy and new archetypes alike. This set is sure to shake up the format, especially one that's still in its infancy thanks to the ban list, with plenty of cards to bolster both old and new decks up to the top tiers. In this video, we'll break down the top 5 cards, sleeper picks, and fun and interesting cards from this set so you'll have a full understanding of the new set heading into this format. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Starting out with the top 5, at number 5 we have the Regenesis archetype. This is a series of monsters with 2500 attack and defense, whose gimmick revolves around controlling monsters with this stat line, and recurring advantage adding back spent monsters to hand each turn. Their monster lineup consists of Dragon, who's a spell trap banish, Warrior, who's a monster bounce, Lord, a spell trap searcher and damage dealer, Sage, an Omni negate, and Archfiend, who searches the whole archetype. These are all high-level monsters who require at least one to hit the board to combo off and facilitate that either through supplemental engines or through their in-archetype spells and traps. Regenesis, the titular spell card, is a roto for the archetype that also acts as a monster reborn on future turns. Regenesis Code is a quick play E-Tele for the deck that also acts as banishment recursion on future turns. And last but not least, their continuous trap Regenesis Birth gets to act as either a reusable Book of Moon, combined with Foolish Burial, or you can send it to the graveyard to soul charge and return from the different dimension all in one card. Absolutely crazy amounts of searchability and recursion throughout the archetype. Its really only downside comes down to the fact that it needs a monster on board to get going. Still, though, expect this engine to be splashed in a number of decks and see play at both the local and premier level. At number 4, we already have cards that I expect to be part of a Tier 1 deck. That's just how strong the set is. Malice P. Marchhare and Malice in the Mirror are two new pieces of support that completely revitalize Malice. Marchhare acts as an in-archetype Bestial, being able to start or extend your combos by banishing a Malice monster from hand or grave. This is also a quick effect, meaning that in combination with White Rabbit you can play on turn 0, and it acts as an extra layer of interruption on your opponent's turn on top of your main board. To top all that off, it adds a banished Malice monster back to hand when it's banished that includes itself, meaning that you can recur Marchhare infinitely. Mirror is also a good new card for the archetype, giving them something else to search off Red Ransom instead of the field spell. It's a searchable quick play monster negate that also gets to act as a searcher if it's banished from the graveyard. This is going to be a powerful one that Malice now has access to add even more layers of interruption to the end board. Moving on to number 3, but in a way staying right where we are, we have the new Ad Ignister cards. I say this because these cards are also expected to support Malice, but I'm keeping them separate since they are actually just generic cyber support that could see play in a number of decks. They have a few cards, but we'll focus here on the 3 we expect to see splashable play. Backup Ad Ignister is a level 3 Cybers that summons itself for free if you control a Cybers summoned from the extra deck, and then on summon gets to add any Dark Cybers monster to hand, then discard a card. This is a free extender for the Malice deck that also searches any of their main deck monsters. It's an absolutely custom card for the deck. However, another card that you could search is Wizard Ad Ignister, who, like Backup, needs an extra deck Cybers on field, but unlike Backup, gets to revive another Dark Cybers in addition to summoning himself from hand. These two cards in tandem give you an insane amount of material on board in order to make all of your Malice link climbing plays significantly easier. And last but certainly not least, we have Access Code Talker Ad Ignister, who is a Link 5 monster requiring 3+ effect monsters, who does 2 very important things. 1, on summon he gets to revive all Cybers Link monsters from your graveyard with 2300 attack to zone C points to. This means that you basically get to soul charge back all of your Malice Link 3s that you just used to summon this guy, but that's not all. Additionally, he provides an Omni negate by tributing one of those links, giving Malice negation on top of their already impressive end board. These cards are very good and will likely slot into Malice and many other cyber strategies both now and in the future, so look to pick these up if you can. At the second place slot, we have a new board-breaking staple coming out in Gordian Slicer, a normal spell card with a simple yet powerful effect. You can activate it at the start of your either main phase by targeting face-up cards on the field. You must then banish 1 card from your hand or 6 cards from your extra deck per card targeted, and then return those targeted cards to the hand. The kicker? Your opponent cannot negate this card, nor its effects, meaning that it is guaranteed to resolve once you use it. This means that Omni negates your opponent has set up, or floodgates your opponent has flipped become generically outable, and the opponent has no choice but to either remove them from the field themselves some way, or let them get bounced to hand. I don't see too many people hyping this up, So you could argue that this is also a sleeper, but I think that it will become a side deck staple for formats to come, so pick this up if you can find it for cheap on release. At the number 1 slot, we have the new Mitsurugi support coming out in this set. And if you thought the previous cards were crazy, Mitsurugi got an insane amount of broken support coming out for the Wave 2 of the archetype, and all in relatively low rarity too. They've got 3 new monsters, 3 new spells, and a trap, so we've got a lot to cover here. Their new main deck level 4 monster, Aramasa, is crazy, searching for any Mitsurugi monster on normal or tribute, which gives the deck an extra 3 starters and or extenders, generating them even more advantage. The level 8 main deck effect monster, Wosu, acts as an in-archetype non-effect removal as it tributes an opponent's monster for its summoning condition, and additionally adds itself back to hand whenever it's tributed. Their new ritual monster, Habakiri, is an e-tele from hand and a whole archetype searcher like the other rituals when tributed, giving the deck plays without the normal, another huge consistency boost to the deck. Truly 3 pieces of custom support, and it only gets better. Mitsurugi Mirror is a new ritual spell that lets you ritual summon a monster from hand or grave, but the best part of this card isn't even one of its effects. Well, technically it is, but it's the fact that it has all of the ritual monsters listed on it by name, meaning that the deck now has access to even more searchability and starters in pre-preparation of rites. Their new quick play spell, Magatama, allows you to get a quick effect pop or a ritual summon on your opponent's turn, giving you some flexibility and options to search in the pure builds. And the new continuous spell, Sacred Boundary, gives them both recursion and monster removal, once again in the form of a non-effect style removal, forcing your opponent instead to be the one to send the monster, which gets around monsters that are unaffected by card effects. Last, and certainly least, is their new trap, which is a hand and extra deck ripped by tributing all of the named rituals. But it's way too win more and likely won't see much play outside of funny YouTube combos. All in all, this sport is absolutely insane and will propel both the pure variants and the Ryzeal variants all the way up to tier 2, if not tier 1 or maybe even tier 0 status. The sky is really the limit with these cards, and we'll definitely have to just wait and see how they shake up the format. I'm definitely looking to pick these up, and you should too if you're looking to play Mitsurugi in any form in the near future. Moving on, we have the sleepers from this set. These are cards that are still very good, but might be flying under a lot of people's radar, so let's jump right in. Dragon's Mind is a new counter trap coming out in the set and provides some support to an already strong deck in the format, Blue Eyes. It's an Omni Negate as long as you control a 2500 attack or defense monster, meaning that both a Blue Eyes or a Spirit Dragon on board fulfill that condition. Additionally, you can pay 2500 life points to reset this card, meaning that it provides you 2 additional Omni Negates for the price of 1. It isn't searchable, but that's the only thing that's really holding this card back, and if OCG results are to be believed, it will be a strong addition to the existing Blue Eyes strategies. The next card in this list is an interesting one, as it's only a common, and on release will likely not even be a very good card, and that's Chaotic Elements. It's a Rhoda for level 5 or higher light or dark, pyro, or aqua monsters, which certainly sounds like an awkward combination. However, looking forward towards the next deck build pack, K9 provides 2 powerful monsters that are dark pyro and dark aqua level 5s. This means that you have a versatile searcher for the deck that also has implications in the mirror thanks to its graveyard removal effect. This is a very powerful common that most people probably won't be thinking of on release, so pick it up now while it's cheap before it spikes when the K9 cards release. The third on this list is a blast from the past of legacy support in the form of Dragon Rulers. These cards were so historically powerful that they were banned and limited for the majority of their lifespan in the game. They were recently back to full power, likely to push this new support, and the Dragon Rulers of old are still certainly very powerful Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They get 2 new main deck monsters in Nebulous, a banishment recursion tool, and Spectral, a double Rhoda. They also come along with 2 big dragons to complement them, but this time they're in the extra deck as archetypal rank 7s. Eclipse summons a big Dragon Ruler from deck on summon, and is also a spell and trap, negate, and banish. While Chasma is a quick effect to copy any of the big Dragon Ruler's discard effects, while also foolishing them from the deck. This means that Chasma can be a Rhoda for any dragon, a Foolish Burial for any monster, a pop for any card, or a monster or a reborn, all in one card. The amount of versatility is absolutely nuts, and I'm surprised at how little hype these cards are getting pre-release. They also do get a win more boss monster Xyz and a lore quick play, but even without those 2, the above 4 cards will likely catapult the deck back to at least rogue tier if not better. I'm excited to see Dragon Rulers back in the format and can't wait to pick up this support. Coming in at number 2, it's hard to call this card a sleeper per se, but I think it's definitely in the shadow of all the Mal support and that is Star Ryziel. Foiled, Malice is the best deck of last format. Ryziel lost a lot of consistency via the ban list. However, Star Ryziel is coming in to change that, giving the deck another name to play and another way to search spell and traps, meaning that Cross is likely to become online, and Plasma Hole and or Plugin can now become staples of the end board. This card will certainly help Ryziel a lot, but will remain to be seen just how much, so we'll have to wait and see. At the number 1 slot, we have another piece of indirect Blue-Eye support in Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. This card is very simple, and all it really does for the deck is give it extra push for damage with Spirit Dragon, but this actually helps tip the scales quite a bit. Now, 1 Blue Eyes plus a Spirit is OTK by themselves, meaning that Blue Eyes players don't need to extend nearly as hard or commit nearly as many resources to killing on an open board state. This makes them less vulnerable to Nibiru, and gives them a way to push for more damage, ensuring an OTK where otherwise they might have been stuck controlling the board state and settling for another turn. This card might not seem like much, and it doesn't do anything for the turn 1 board, but don't count it out lest you forget about it and fall victim to an unsuspecting OTK from your Blue Eyes opponent. Now we're on to my favorite part of the video, the fun and interesting cards section. Here we get to highlight fun, weird, and unique card effects that most other people will brush off as pack filler. Starting off at number 5, we have the new TCG exclusive Fish support. While the new main deck monster and the Synchro do seem like some solid GOTY support, the card that most caught my eye, pun intended, is Fish and Bids. This card is really wacky. You can banish a card from your hand, then your opponent can banish 2 cards from their hand and negate it. Otherwise, you get to banish or dump 2 fish monsters from your deck. I think this card is really funny, mimicking someone bidding with someone else at the fish market for a card effect. And while certainly not a good card, it almost plays out like a little mini game, which I think is fun on its own. At number 4, we have Eldlixir of the Glorious Golden Land. Yes, that's right, Eldritch is getting some support in this set. And I like this card for 2 reasons. 1, it gives the deck a bounce and some recursion, which is nice, but also it's both an Eldlixir and a Golden Land card, meaning that it synergizes with both halves of the strategy. And that's further exemplified by the card effect, allowing you to choose between summoning it as a monster, like the Golden Land cards, or just using its normal trap effect to gain some advantage, like the Eldlixirs. It's a fun card and it perfectly fits the archetype gimmick, so good job Konami design team. The third card on this list is White Reanimator, a piece of Skull Servant support that actually does everything the deck could want, which is why it's on here. It's a 1-card continuous Foolish Burial and Monster Reborn all in one effect, and on top of that allows your King of the Skull Servants to inflict piercing battle damage, making your OTKs all the easier. This card is a perfect piece of legacy support, but nowhere near enough to make this meta, but anything to make it so that someone can pull off a Skull Servant OTK is fun and interesting to me. At the number 2 slot, we have Jurashin the Cursed Thunder God. This is a new generic level 11 synchro with a surprisingly good effect. It lets you quick effect tribute itself to blow up all your opponent's face-up monsters, or all of their face-up spell traps, making it a board nuke against a number of decks at quick effect speed. I'm not sure what decks this can find a home in, but it does seem like an interesting card that could come up in the future, and when disguised as pack filler makes this interesting to me. And last but not least are a set of cards that almost made it onto the sleepers list, but are certainly also interesting pieces of legacy support, and those are the new Evil Twin cards. Evil Twin Kiss Kill Deal is a new Link 1 for the deck, meaning that they can make it for free over the course of their main combo. And not only sets up your graveyard with a Leela monster, but also punishes your opponent from interacting with you by giving you a draw every time they do so. A really cool piece of support, and if that wasn't all, the new Leela main deck monster is arguably better. It is an in-hand Omni-Negate when your opponent tries to respond to your Live Twins, giving the deck more insulation to the usual hand trap on the normal summon that you would see against you. Also, it's a free summon from the graveyard, making it synergize even better with the Link 1. I think that Live Twin Sprite has been on the fringe of playability for a while now, and these new cards might just push them over the edge. It'll just have to remain to be seen what players end up doing with the deck. And with that, you should now have an in-depth understanding of Yu-Gi-Oh's newest set, Alliance Insight. As always, let me know down in the comments what you think of the set, especially if you feel like there were some cards that I missed or left out of the discussion. While you're down there, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We just hit 100 subs and are growing strong, so now is a perfect time to join the 0-2 community. But with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!